Hello everyone, Babzilla here. I have some awesome news for you. In the previous video that I did or the last video that I did in Minecraft with Zach, a bit towards the end, I told everybody about this fan fiction that I'm writing with the Ninja Turtles and the video game The Last of Us. I wanted to make a video about this, giving you guys some information, a bit of the background to it. Um, I'm saying a lot. I'm sorry. Just to kind of fill you in on it. I'm sure you guys are curious about it, and also I want to give it a little bit of attention because a lot of people have said how awesome it is. They want to keep reading it, so I thought I would share with you guys out there um, what I've been doing. So the fanfiction is called TMNT Last of Us, and um, it's exactly what it sounds like. I took the 2003 Ninja Turtles and put them in the world of The Last of Us. And basically it's their perspective on how everything just went to hell. How the infection got started, how they dealt with it, and how they're living through it. And as I said in the Minecraft video, I only have the prologue and chapter 1 out. It's very new, and I am taking my time with it because I want to make sure that I get all the characters right. I don't want to make them do or say anything that they wouldn't say or do. And I just want to make sure that the story is all around absolutely perfect for you guys. So for this, I am writing it on Wattpad.com, and my user is Babz because I signed up using my Facebook. And this is my profile. And if you scroll down, you can go to TMNT Last of Us. I will link my profile in the description, and I will also link the prologue into the description as well. So if you want to skip going to the profile, you can go directly to the story. So I'm going to read the prologue for you guys. And I would really appreciate any tips, any comments. I don't care if they're positive or negative. I want to hear what you guys have to say on this because I think that your opinion is extremely important. If you're a huge Ninja Turtle fan and you think a character is out of place, has done something that they wouldn't do or say, please let me know. I mean, I am a major, huge shellhead, but I mean, come on. I can make mistakes, you know? So, that being said, without further ado, I'm going to read the prologue of TMNT Last of Us. It seemed like just another day in the life of a Ninja Turtle. The brothers were off doing their own things. Donatello was in his lab working on a new project. Raphael was in his room, still sleeping, despite that it was 11 a.m. Leonardo and Michelangelo were in the living room portion of the lair. Leo was catching up on a novel that had been given to him by April, and Mikey was watching TV and munching on potato chips. "You know," Mikey said, "things have been pretty boring since we defeated Shredder and Karai disbanded the Foot Clan." Leo looked up from his book. "I would say things have calmed down a bit. Though, if you're that bored, you could always go back to being Turtle Titan." Mikey had considered it. The only bad guys around now were the thugs and gangs on the street, and the powers that be knew that they never quit. Just as Michelangelo opened his mouth to answer his brother, a news report came on TV. "We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency update. Aw, man, why do they always interrupt the monster movies? Mikey whined. Quiet, shell for brains. Raphael had woken up and was standing behind his brother. Meep! Mike nearly jumped off the couch. The hell, Raph? I almost jumped out of my shell. Oh, I can't read. I'm sorry. I knew I was gonna mess it up. Anyway, shut up. Raph batted Mikey upside the head. Mike groaned and rubbed his head, but kept quiet as the reporter started speaking. It appears that what we initially reported as riots seem to be somehow connected to the nationwide pandemic. We've received reports that victims afflicted with the infection show signs of increased aggression and we need everybody to get out of here now. There's some commotion coming on from behind. There's some commotion coming from behind. Lady, get the hell out of here, right? Suddenly, there was an explosion in the background, and the picture disappeared into static. I can't keep watching this. Mikey threw his hands up and got off the couch. It's sick is what it is. What's making these people go nuts? Raph turned his head to look at Leo, who was staring at the TV screen. I don't know, but I don't think it's a good idea to leave the lair until we know what's going on. He closed his book and stood up. I'm going to call April and Casey and see if they're still doing all right. Better yet, they should be down here with us, remarked Raph. Mikey walked into Donatello's lab and sat on a stool at the workbench. I hope you didn't come in here to bug me, Don said as he tightened a few screws. Mike looked over his brother and sighed. It's getting worse out there. People are getting more violent. I can't stand to see it anymore. And they still don't know what's causing it, do they? Don looked over at his little brother. Mikey only nodded. Don shook his head and returned to what he was working on. It's strange that something like this could happen so suddenly. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this is a zombie apocalypse. Mikey held his hands in the air and wiggled his fingers. Ooh-wee-oo. Don looked over at his brother again. He didn't look amused. Once again, you've been reading too many comics and watching too many monster movies. A zombie apocalypse is highly unlikely. For someone to come back from the dead would be like a scientist playing God. And even if it was possible, chances are... Don's words were going in one ear and out the other for Mikey. I'm telling you, bro, zombies! He held up his hands again. Ooh-wee-oo. Don shook his head and returned to his project. Shell for brains. The phone was ringing, but no one was answering. Come on, April. Casey, one of you, pick up. Leo had tried calling them a few times now, but the machine picked up like the other times. He wasn't sure why. Donnie had talked to April just yesterday, and it seemed that the two were holding up fine. So why weren't they answering now? Leo put his shell cell in his belt and sighed. He left 2 messages. Surely they'd call him back when time allowed. Still, waiting wasn't going to be easy. You talked to him? Raphael asked when Leo came back. No answer. Maybe you should try. The worry on Leo's face was as clear as day. Don't worry, bro. They'd let us know if they were in trouble, Raph replied. The call came 3 hours later. Casey? Calm down. What happened? Leo was relieved that Casey finally called him back, but the tone of his voice only caused more concern. All right, don't panic. Just get down here and be careful. Leo hung up his phone. Mikey was sitting by his brother near the TV, and a new movie was playing. He turned to Leo. That was Casey, right? Is he okay? What about April? Yes, that was Casey. They were leaving their apartment for here, but were attacked. Casey said April has a bite on her arm, but otherwise they're okay, Leo replied. Shouldn't we go out there and get them? Don asked. He was taking a break from his work. They're already in the sewers and aren't being followed. If anything, we should be ready to help them out when they get here, Leo said, looking at Don. Donatello nodded and hurried to his lab. He got out some medical supplies and cleaned off a bench for April to rest on. Just take it easy, April. Donnie had led her into his lab and had her sit on the workbench. It's a pretty nasty wound you have there, he said as he examined her arm. You're telling me, April replied. Everyone infected has been so violent. What's worse is it's happening to almost everyone in the city. Casey and I can't find a sane person at all. Don nodded and proceeded to clean up the wound. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. The teeth marks were deep, not usually normal for a human to make, and there were some small white spots developing around the bite. "April, I don't want to worry you, but I think we need to watch this. I don't think I've seen this in my life before," he said as he applied a cream to the wound, and then wrapped her arm. "I'd feel better if we did. I don't like the look of it at all," April replied. Raph and Casey were in the kitchen unpacking some extra food that Casey had brought down. Mikey peeked around the corner of the kitchen doorway. "Did you bring more chips?" he asked. "I brought what I could," Casey answered, then threw a bag of chips at Mikey. "Of course I did." "Woohoo!" Mikey took the chips and ran off. "Brothers," Raph said. "So, Case, how bad is it up there?" Casey turned to Raph. "You mean you haven't been up there? It's really bad, man. Everyone's gone to Crazy Town, and I don't think they're coming back. I had to whack a handful of people with my hockey stick just to get here." "Yeah, Leo doesn't want us leaving the lair until whatever this is blows over." Raphael crossed his arms. "So they really are as aggressive as the news says. And more. Get this, April and I saw some purple dragons the other day. They didn't even try to rob anything. They were just going after other people, and not for money." Casey waved his arms in the air as he spoke. "I don't know, man. Something's not right out there." That night, before they went to bed, Don and April went back to the lab to check on the wound again. When Don unwrapped April's arm, they were shocked to see that it had gotten much worse in only a few hours. Her skin around the wound was now bright red, and the white spots were bigger and in more places. "I really don't like the look of that. I don't think the cream I put on it helped at all." Donnie frowned. There was no hiding the scared expression on April's face. "Don, I don't like this. Some of the people out there had the same thing. I don't think Casey noticed, but I certainly did. You don't think I might go crazy too? You saw the bite marks on other people too?" Don gave April a puzzled look, which he used to try and hide the worry and concern. "Let me get a tissue sample. I want to study this closer." After getting some tissue from April's wound, Don sent her to bed to rest. He had a feeling that it would take all night to begin to understand what was going on, but he didn't care. If what April said was true, he knew he didn't have a lot of time to figure things out. And that, everyone, is the prologue. I hope you enjoyed it. Chapter 1 is called Only a Memory. I'm not going to read it out loud because my reading skills are particularly craptacular, whichever you want to call it. But, like I said, there's only the prologue and Chapter 1. I am currently working on Chapter 2. I'm taking it nice and slow. And I usually post an update on Facebook as to when the chapters are done. So I will link my Facebook in the description, and rather than adding me, you can follow my posts. So if you'd like to, I mean, you can add me if you want, but I think it would just be easier for you to follow my posts. But either way, whatever you guys want to do, I usually accept everyone. So so that being said, I forgot to tell you, this story is taking place 1 year after season 7 of the 2003 series ends. I'm not going to tell you the last episode of season 7 because I don't want spoilers. I don't want to give spoilers, so we'll just leave it at that. Feel free to check it out on YouTube. I actually have a playlist of all 7 seasons of the 2003 Ninja Turtles made up on my channel. So just go under my playlists tab and they'll be right there. So thank you for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I hope that you will continue reading it and following it. And again, if you have any comments about this, if you want to give positive feedback, I don't care if it's a negative comment. If you want to give some constructive criticism, if I made one of the characters do something that they wouldn't normally do, please let me know. Because I want this to be the absolute best story for all Ninja Turtle fans and Last of Us fans. So, with that, I'm going to end the video. I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I really hope that you want to read more. And, again, I really hope that you guys give me some feedback with this. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys!